Welcome to the Vault XL. Thank you all so much for joining me. Before I get started, I'd like to give you my weekend suggestion Trinket Box. Now playing on Tubi. Tubi is a free app. You can watch it either on your computer, your phone, or a streaming device such as Fire or Roku TV. Trinket Box. Now playing on Tubi is my weekend suggestion. Mama was my movie suggestion for the week, and White Boy was my suggestion for a documentary pertaining to White Boy Rick. Thank you for joining me. Jealousy. Jealousy generally refers to the thoughts of feelings or feelings of insecurity, fear, and concern over a relative lack of possessions or safety. Similar, envy. Resentment, spite, grudge, bitterness, desire, distrust, suspicion, mistrust, doubt, insecurity, anxiety, defensiveness, vigilance, mindfulness, care, attentiveness. What is the main cause of jealousy? Jealousy may be driven by low self esteem or poor self image. If you don't feel attractive and confident, it can be hard to truly believe that your partner loves and values you. Other times, jealousy can be caused by unrealistic expectations about the relationship. Three types of jealousy. Rational. When there is genuine, reasonable doubt, especially when you love a partner and fear losing them. Rational jealousy can occur. Family jealousy that typically occurs between family members, such as siblings, and pathological. This type of jealousy is irrational. I bring you this content because there are many people, including some of you viewing, have been jealous, envy hearted of others, and there have been people jealous of you. So, have you ever had a jealous friend or friends? Someone felt some type of discontent with you, and you felt that he or she was or is, let's say, present tense. Do you have a jealous friend, entourage, people who really don't mean you well? They pretend they do, but maybe they say and do things to show discontent with you. And we know that many women are known to be petty creatures, probably more often than men. And we've heard this in conversations from women, young girls. Well, she's jealous of me. And sometimes it doesn't actually mean that it's true. Could be just a disagreement, and that's the first thing that comes to mind. Oh, she's jealous of me. But then sometimes there is some truth to the allegation, such as wanting what the other person has. You see, they have a nice home, nice TV, nice clothes, and perhaps you mimic those things by purchasing similar items or identical. Your friend dyes her hair blonde, you dye your hair blonde. She wears her hair in a bun, you wear your hair in a bun. She bought a new purse, you bought that same identical purse. Why? What drives a human to be jealous of another human being? And you hear that in this commentary. Wikipedia is the source. Low self esteem. Many women are jealous of other women. little things they say to show that they are jealous. You don't need that. What you buying that for? Why you talking to him? He ain't no good. He ain't about nothing. I wouldn't have bought a TV that size. Why do you want to move over there? How can you afford that? How can you afford the rent? Isn't it too expensive? Oh, I thought you said you didn't have any money. Where'd you get some money from? The constant picking is what I call it. Nitpicking. Always a question. Who, where, why? And the one thing I can say about these little nitpickers, these little green-eyed monsters, is that it's annoying as hell. Well, how do you know him? How do you know her? Oh, I didn't know you two were friends. I didn't know you all knew each other. What difference does it make? It's always a question. And when you hear it often, you'd have to use deduction that, okay, there's a problem here. And one thing I've learned about people, they don't stop until you call their bluff. So sometimes it's best to just nip it in the bud and be done with it. Well, is there a problem, Miss Lady? Is it bothering you? Well, what's the issue? And then you wait for a response. But a lot of women are jealous of their friends, their associates. Are you a jealous person, jealous friend, associate? Have you ever been jealous of your friend, schoolmate, work partners, family members? And what was the cause of the jealousy? That's my topic for tonight. 21 viewing. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in to this live stream before the weekend. Once again, my weekend suggestion for this weekend is Trinket Box, now playing on Tubi. Women, we are unique creatures. We show our hand often. Usually men don't, but women do often. Because I guess we're just more emotional than men for some unknown reason. Maybe taught this way. Wear our heart on our sleeve, always showing how we feel about things. But it's not a good trait to, one, be envy-hearted of others, or better yet, to be jealous of another human being. Because we are all different. We all come in different shapes, sizes, color, educational, religious backgrounds. And really, it's a waste of time being jealous of another person. And we have seen in women, it runs rampant. But as I said, it can be very annoying when people start asking you questions. Women ask you questions over and over. It would lead you to think, okay, there's an issue here. Why does she keep asking me the same question? Where do you live? Where do you live? How do you know him? How do you know him? Oh, she knows everybody. Well, does she? Well, that's just your assumption. Would it bother you if the person knew everybody? Because there's no way a person could possibly know everybody. But people watch you see. And this is where the nitpicking and the little commentary comes from, watching your every move. That's how you know if a person is possibly envy-hearted, jealous. They have something to say about every little thing you do, from the way you hold your fork, conversations you make, people you socialize with. Because maybe they're not a people person. They can't gravitate towards people. Such as the Queen, I'm very outgoing. I can go anywhere and meet a friend. I can talk to anybody. I don't really have to care for them or like them. Just idle conversation. Some people can't do that. And that would bother some people who do have a low self-esteem. Well, she's awfully bubbly. Oh, she could talk to anybody. I can't. It's a choice. A woman that gets a lot of attention by men. That would bother some women. And that's one thing we've learned that's a major trait of jealousy, jealous women, females, men paying a woman more attention than them. But then there could be a guy that would pay more attention to the other one and not me. You understand what I'm saying? Should I be jealous? Should I become jealous? Of course not. Of course not. Being flirtatious with someone that you see is not really interested in you in that way. But maybe you thought he liked your friend or associate. So you put on. Want to be talkative, touchy-feely. Now, why would you want to do that? Because you think the male is not noticing that? And obviously the female will possibly notice it and think, it's not that serious. I'm not even interested. So why are you doing all that extra? But you have women like that. They don't have a high self-esteem, easily intimidated. And it's sad and sometimes quite pathetic, the lengths that a person will go to try to be validated. Are you a jealous friend? Do you have friends, a friend that is jealous of you? And have you said something to that person? And what was the response? I'm curious. Thank you for joining me. Hello, everyone in the chat. It is what it is. Brittany, Lane Doon, Marion, Patricia, Queen B. Thank you all so much for joining me. Trying to bring you a little bit of diversity to the network. Talk about something different every now and again. There was a story that came up in the queue, and I can't say what it's all about, but it is the reason I came to bring this topic up, because you really just don't know the people you're dealing with. People you think are your friends, and they're really not your friends. And sadly, the story of Shanquella Robinson is a prime example of jealousy, hate, to be quite frank. Someone hated her, plural, which led to her death down in Mexico. See, you don't know people. Think that you're friends, but they're not. Trying to get an update to a story. One second. There's a story that's come to light from a week ago about a young lady attending TSU University. And I'm going to play that content for you. If I can pull it up. One second, everybody. What'd you say, Brittany? They don't necessarily want you to have, they just don't want you to have it. Good point. Don't want you to have it. Interesting. They don't want what you have. Well, Brittany, there are some people who do actually go out and try to get things that you have. I've seen this happen. A woman getting her hair done just like a lady who she thinks her man liked or was messing around with. And she went and got the identical hairstyle as her. I thought that was very creepy. Very, very creepy. This was many years ago, 20 plus years ago. Trying to find the latest story about this young lady. Because there's a few out here. I don't know what actually happened. I don't know if this is an issue of jealousy or not. We will see. Very pretty girl, too. Yeah. Why would you go get your hair like somebody else's? For what?
Daughter's death. Yeah, Mia Kanu's body was found lying on a Michigan road after a house party. Police say they are investigating it now as a homicide.
WSMV's Marissa Sulik spoke with Kanu's mother today about why she was in Michigan and the questions they still have about her death.
She loved all animals and everything living.
Mia Kanu dreamt of being a veterinarian. She was studying to be one at TSU and worked at Richland Animal Clinic. She didn't want to leave for the summer, but her mom, Bianca Van Meter, says rent was too high.
She just loved the people and loved the animals. And I told her, you cannot sleep in your car. You have to come home.
Mia went home to Michigan, where she started hanging out with new friends. Her mom says one girl stayed at their home a few nights. The friend made Van Meter uncomfortable, so she asked Mia for her vehicle registration if it was going to be parked in her driveway.
The night that the incident happened, my daughter sent me a picture of the girl's registration.
Van Meter says it was the same car Mia was in the night she was found.
She was in her car. Nobody went back for my daughter. She was left in the middle of the road. No one called 911.
This week, her mom was there as her daughter donated her organs. Mia saved a baby and another recipient, offering care to families even in her death.
The messages I'm getting from people in high school who were thinking that their life was pretty much over, and then they met my daughter. And that, to me, so many stories like that.
Now, police in Michigan are investigating this as a homicide, and they say the people involved and the driver are cooperating. In Nashville, Marissa Sulik.
Let me go back because I'm a little confused at this car business. Hold on, you guys.
Mom says one girl stayed at their home a few nights. The friend made Van Meter uncomfortable, so she asked Mia for her vehicle registration if it was going to be parked in her driveway.
The night that the incident happened, my daughter sent me a picture of the girl's registration.
Van Meter says it was the same car Mia was in the night she was found.
She was in her car. Nobody went back for my daughter. She was left in the middle of the road. No one called 911.
This week, her mom was there as her daughter donated her organs. Mia saved a baby and another recipient, offering care to families even in her death.
The messages I'm getting from people in high school who were thinking that their life was pretty much over, and then they met my daughter. And that, to me, so many stories like that.
Now, police in Michigan are investigating this as a homicide, and they say the people involved and the driver are cooperating.
All right, so we have an African-American female, biracial young lady, because here you can see in this content the mother is Caucasian. What happened? I don't really understand what she was saying about rent was expensive and she went to Michigan. Does seem like to me rent would be cheaper here than Michigan, so I'm a little confused at that information. What actually happened? Because I'm confused. Let's see what Inside Edition has to say about this story. This was uploaded 6 days ago.
Surrounds the death of this beautiful college senior.
My name's Mia.
Mia Kanu was found lying in the middle of the street with severe head trauma. Now many are asking if she was pushed or did she fall out of a moving car.
It's just really hard for me to understand why someone would just leave her.
Her mother Bianca tells our Stephen Fabian she's desperate for answers.
They treated her like trash. You must be furious.
Nobody called 911. Nobody came back around. So if that's your friend,
I want to be a vet for zoo animals.
The 23-year-old was studying veterinary medicine at Tennessee State University. She was back home outside Detroit for the summer and was hanging out with several new friends she had made.
Did you have concerns about this group of friends?
I did. There was just some things that weren't adding up for me as a mom.
The night of her death started out innocently. Mia headed to a house party where authorities say there was an argument. Mia left the party and reportedly got into a car with two acquaintances, a man and a woman. Mia was believed to have been in the backseat, the other two people up front.
The next thing I know is that they do have surveillance of her being pushed or falling or being put out of a vehicle.
Cops have not released the video. Mia's body was found at this intersection on June 3rd at 4:30 a.m.
No matter which way I spin it, I just really can't put it together. This is traumatic.
2 days later, Mia was pronounced dead. Doctors were able to harvest her organs. Mia was celebrated with an honor walk. Hospital staff lined the hallway as Mia, still on life support, was wheeled down the corridor. You can hear her mother weeping. Now Mia lives on in others as mystery surrounds her untimely death.
This just doesn't seem right. Somebody so loved and so giving and just so perfect.
Inside Edition, my second source. 23 years of age, studying veterinary medicine at Tennessee State University. This is an all-black college in Nashville, Tennessee. Goes home for the summer to only end up dead, head trauma, and discarded in a public street. New friends. Mom didn't care for one of them, asked for her registration. Where did she meet this girl who stayed at their house for a couple of days? Does she live in the Detroit metro area, suburb? Is she a student? Where did Mia meet her? She's the reason I came up with this title. You don't know people. Guy and girl in the front seat. She's in the back, allegedly. So how did she get out of the car? 2-door, 4-door? Was this a case of jealousy? Altercation ensued. Somebody made a pass to somebody. Somebody rebuffed it. Somebody made an allegation of a pass made by a man or so. Was this a setup to harm the girl, assault the girl? What happened in that car? Was this young lady sick, hurt? Did she take some type of drugs, overdose? What happened? They got scared, threw her out. We have seen cases of people discarded after overdosing. People were afraid to call 911 as not to be implicated in the death of the person. But blunt force trauma is not overdosing. In this case, it's being investigated as a homicide. You see, with this new information, And thinking of Shanquella Robinson's case that happened in Mexico, you realize you don't know people. That you can laugh and kiki with people, but you don't really know their true intentions. You don't know how they actually feel about you. And I think most of us know that as human beings, that you can be in the company of people, but really not like them, and vice versa. Sometimes we don't tell people what we actually think of them. They are right, but that's about it. We don't really like them. Some things about them we don't care about. We tolerate them for some unknown reason. We don't really like them. They don't really like us. Let me give you some information uploaded 3 days ago pertaining to this young lady's demise. And amen for her mother donating her organs to people in need. A Tennessee State University student passed away on June 5th after a tragic accident, WSMV reports. According to a family member's Facebook post, 23-year-old Mia Amelia Kanu was pronounced dead on June 5th after being involved in an accident on June 3rd. Southfield Police Department responded to reports of a body found lying in a roadway in the area of Providence Drive around 4:30 a.m. on June 3rd, 2023. The body was later identified as Kanu. Police said Kanu attended a party at an apartment complex nearby before she was found. Kanu was taken to a local hospital where she passed away 2 days later. Kanu was a senior at TSU studying undergraduate food and animal sciences with plans of becoming a veterinarian. The university's Department of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences posted the following statement on Facebook about Kanu's death. We're deeply saddened to hear about the passing of Mia, and we send our condolences to her family and friends. It's got a little more under that. I couldn't open it up to see what it says, but they've put a very beautiful picture up of the young lady and sending their condolences. The university, Tennessee State. Southfield police are investigating the 23-year-old's death as a homicide. Police are currently reviewing surveillance and holding interviews with people at the party and the driver of the vehicle that Kanu was in before she was found on the road, according to WSMV. Her death has yet to be determined as autopsy results await. So each content reads something else. One reads investigating as a homicide. You hear Inside Edition say blunt force trauma. Of course, that's not a reading yet of the autopsy. Maybe a couple weeks before we get a rendering. And this is a week old's content. I cannot say that this is an issue of jealousy, but it came to mind for some unknown reason. And this is before I even got the information of the blunt force trauma and this suspicious young lady that the mother had an issue with for some unknown reason. What was the mother's suspicion about her? Why did she need this girl's registration? Was her behavior odd when she was staying at their house? Did she say something out of the way? Was she too friendly, too overt, bad manners, disrespectful, bad tongue, vulgar? Was she clean, hygienic? There's something? What was it? And maybe the mother's afraid to say too much since it's an open investigation. And who was the other guy that was in the car that night? Who's that guy to the friend, the associate, the new friend? Any eyewitnesses to what happened to her? Did they beat her up in that car and throw her out? This can basically be a 2-part live pertaining to this commentary and having jealous friends. See, some of us will never think that it would ever lead to this or what happened to Shanquella in Mexico. But the fact is you don't know people. So you can't ever say where it will go. They'll steal from you, lie on you, implicate you in gossip. He said, she said. I've seen all the rhetoric of jealous type people, or just say, hell, they're just damn evil. Call it what you want. Was this young lady or any other young ladies jealous of Miss Mia? And they harmed her on this fateful morning. Hello, Brittany.
Hello. I would love to know what made the mom ask for her registration. Don't you think that's a little strange thing to ask
Well,
for?
I believe it's the girl's behavior was probably off when she was at their house.
Yeah, there had to be something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's really
And how
unfortunate.
did she meet her? She came home and met her where?
Right. She made it sound like all the people that she was hanging out with were all kind of new.
Right. So that's the point. She met her where? And where are her old friends at? She had no other friends. Although she was a senior, you still keep the same friends usually, even from high school.
Right.
When you
Unless they
go
were.
back home, unless they're all scattered around the globe somewhere.
Yeah, possibly they were all at school somewhere. I don't know. Something had to happen for her to be thrown out of this vehicle. You know what I mean? Whether
Sorry, but you know it's something bad because blunt force trauma. It takes away from the allegation possibly that or assumption that maybe she overdosed or got sick and they just got scared and dumped her.
Well, see, I mean, it makes me feel like that she could have still done those things, got sick, overdosed.
Oh yeah, all of that.
And the blunt force trauma come from.
But see, that's what that removes drugs and all that other stuff. Why would I beat you though?
So you don't think the blunt force trauma could be from them like pushing her out of the vehicle or something? I don't know. That just either way, that's so evil.
How can I push you out of the car and we're both in the front of the car?
I don't know. No.
She was in the back seat, and you didn't hear that part?
Yeah, I did. I don't know.
I can't push you out. I can't push you out if I'm up front. I'd have to stop the car, and I'd have to open the door and drag you out. You wouldn't get blunt force trauma for that because the car would be not in motion.
Right. I don't know. That's evil. Who'd leave somebody in the middle of
who's to say we took you somewhere, beat you, and then pulled up and dumped your ass out there?
No, that's possible. But why leave her in the middle of a road?
Because I can.
I mean, I don't know if I consider this one jealous.
I cannot believe you asking that question.
In the middle, I mean, like it's almost. Do what?
Have you know how many people have been found in the middle of a road?
I know, but that's so evil. I mean, I know it happens.
This girl I met many years ago, a Caucasian lady, who was murdered by this black boy. Her and her roommates were murdered by this black boy. That was that was her daughter's boyfriend. He's high on drugs. He just got a life sentence a few weeks ago. He did her daughter that way after he killed her mama and the roommate. He got in the car with her and his cousin, drove down the street, some blocks away, and shot her and dumped her in the road.
That's crazy.
That's the first cousin told to authorities. Mm-hmm. Many people have been dumped outside of cars.
I mean, I can understand. So was she found like in the road or like on the side of the road?
Really, I didn't know they said she was discarded in the road, baby.
That's horrible. Either way, that's evil. That's the only.
Yeah, because one would think if she had visible trauma, she was beat.
Right.
And somebody had to sing.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's. Especially if they had been.
How do you know where everybody was sitting in the car?
Right.
Because people have doorbell cameras. Somebody could have seen them. The apartment complex could have had cameras. Seen them all get in the car. Who got in which back seat, front seat?
Right, a witness at the party could have told it.
Yeah, I mean, people keep forgetting about doing shit like this. There's always an eye in the sky. So you think you're getting away with something, but you're not. And the good thing about this version is that everybody's cooperating. So let's talk about jealousy in general, since that is the topic of this live. Have you ever been jealous of anybody, a woman, Brittany?
No, not that I can think of. No.
Have you ever had a female or female friends, acquaintances jealous of you?
I was trying to think about this earlier. I mean, the only thing I can really think of is a lady at work one time.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
How old were you at the time?
okay. Hold on, I gotta think. Until 12. I was probably like
You at
28.
80 years old. Got to think that far back.
Well, I mean, I'm still at the same job. So that's what I was trying to think. And this went on for like kind of a period of years. I am old.
You ain't 80. Girl, that was so long ago.
I'd say it started when I was like 29, but this kind of went on for like, it really took a period of years for me to kind of realize, but it wasn't anything. Say it again.
Give me the start of it.
She would just kind of make comments about like vacation trips that I would make.
So let me start off here. Were you telling your personal business at your job?
No, it would be more or less I was gone from my job and, because I had been on vacation, and she would ask, where I had been. And, I didn't have any reason to lie. I didn't feel like I was like, showy by saying, oh, I've been to such and such or anything like that. And she was also, it was kind of a weird, I don't even know if jealousy is the right word, because she would always be super, super nice to me, but it just throughout the years as I moved up in different positions, like this lady ended up making like this whole random story up about something that didn't even happen at work, and it just made me think back to all the years that like she had made these random comments like
slow down. She made up something. What do you mean?
Oh, she would say that, like, because I was the supervisor over this team, she would say that, I allow my employees to leave, on breaks. And just, she had, actually, when we fired her, she had a whole notebook because I had to clean her desk out. And she would write down times that I walked out of the building. I wasn't doing anything wrong, but it was strange. Like, she was keeping tabs on me.
So was anybody else in the notebook?
One other girl.
So obviously she had a problem with you all's dealings and whatever at the job.
Well, and yeah, and I can kind of understand that because I was probably 10 years younger than her, and
so now you're saying age has something to do with it. Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean I was younger than her. I don't really know. It was just weird because I didn't have a problem with her. I didn't.
But let's look at it like this. Obviously, she found something wrong with you and this young lady, whatever she thought you were doing, whether you did it or not.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Did she complain to superiors about you and this girl? Did they ever call you in about these allegations?
Oh no, they never called me in about it. But later, after she was let go, they told me all about it.
They told you what?
They told me that she had typed an email about me and things like that.
So basically she did complain on you.
Yeah, she did. That I was never addressed about it.
Okay, so now that's interesting. She's typing an email. I wonder how many times she complained about you and this other girl.
The other girl wasn't in management, so I don't know. I was the one. I think it less had to do with me kind of moving up in the company.
So maybe she has vied for the same position and never got it.
No, not really. I was close with our upper management. Things were kind of changing as far as she'd worked there many years.
But I'm saying, did you ever know that she applied for a job?
Oh, no, because we didn't really even do the same type position. We just had to work somewhat closely together.
Okay.
But I mean, It was. I mean, it was weird. It was
But did
strange.
you ever have to reprimand her? Were you her supervisor anytime?
Yeah, I'm the supervisor, or I ended up being the manager, and I ended up having to be the manager that let her go.
Oh, did you
But
ever
that wasn't,
complain about her?
huh? No, I
Did you-
never complained about her.
So then that's interesting.
Yeah, and when I say I was the manager that had to let her go, we did what they call a riff. So they told me who was leaving. It wasn't that, I was her
Made the
manager.
decision. Okay.
She was out. She was a manager too at that point. But
Why do you think they never said anything to you about her complaints?
because they knew better.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I worked my ass off because I came in as a normal employee and, worked my way all the way up. I mean, I came in at making $15 an hour. So,
Well, do you think she, how's I going to word this?
But it wasn't that was kind of strange after it was all like said and done.
Obviously, she had an issue with you. I'm just trying to understand. Okay, like I'm asking you why they never said anything to you about what she was complaining about. So that means what they either were biased and not saying nothing to you because they liked you or didn't believe it or all of the above.
And they could have possibly been a little biased.
Mm-hmm.
And that may have been her problem because they did trust me, but nothing she said was true.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
No, like
either the allegations you had against you leaving the building, not when you're supposed to be leaving, or not coming back on time from break. Is that what the complaints were basically about?
Yeah, she would say things like I would go on break like 3 or 4 times or take long lunches, and they knew those things weren't true.
She could see all that.
Because me and her ended up only being the 2 managers there in the end. So when I wasn't there, I had to tell her I was leaving. But we were also in a big transition of the company. So I worked through lunch and we were on conference calls most of the time. And I was on these conference calls with the other people said they knew those things weren't true. Yeah, it was really weird. I don't know. This sounds like a weird thing to discuss. I don't know. Because it could have been jealousy. I don't know. She didn't have a reason to be jealous of me. It wasn't that serious.
That's the thing about jealousy. That's your perception.
Yeah,
jealousy doesn't work like that.
Yeah, that's the only situation I can really think of. I was just surprised to know that
You'd be surprised at people who have problems with people, and it is jealousy, not just that a person is doing something right or wrong. It's just maybe it could be something as simple as the texture of hair, the color of hair, the length of hair, the car they drive, the way they dress when they come to work, if they're friendly on the job, moving up the corporate ladder, taking too many breaks. Do you understand what I'm saying? People can become perturbed over the most mundane of things. People can become jealous over the most mundane of things. And there's always some type of rivalry with people on jobs because, as they say, it's the nature of the beast. People are human first. So now they're taking all their emotions, their misgivings, their jacked up problems, ways to their job, and it comes out at the job. No different than an apartment complex, neighborhood. It's all the same.
Yeah, and that was kind of the strange thing is we did not do the same thing. We did not. I mean, she never could have wanted the position I had, and I could have never wanted the position she had.
So how did you ever know when you were leaving work? Explain it to me, like from work.
Okay, so we did medical billing.
Okay.
Y'all
worked in
I'm trying not to say too much.
I'm saying that you work in cubicles so where she could see you go out and in a door.
No, I had office. She ended up being in a cubicle. Okay, so those are the kind of things right there. See, I just caught myself saying that. So whenever I moved,
that makes sense for people to understand how somebody could know when you're coming and going without you.
It was like a building, and yeah, she could see. And like I said, she was a manager way before I was ever a manager.
Okay.
And so, so we were the only 2 managers there. So I would say, hey, I'm going to lunch, or I wouldn't say, hey, I'm going to lunch because the majority of the time I couldn't. show, or if I was going to go out on break, I'll say I'm going to step outside for a second, or something like that. So, but we were probably 15 feet away from each other. But there are little things that I just caught that I think back on, like whenever I got my management position, I got an office. She was still in a cubicle, but it was a large cubicle. I don't know that matters. Those aren't things that like I really cared about, because it did make me feel some type of way, because I knew how it was gonna be perceived by her, because it kind of wasn't fair.
People in general.
Well, it was a rough transition. I'll say that altogether, kind of, because I did come in as a normal employee. So some of these people I had worked with for years, as I was there same as them, just a normal employee. So then I became a supervisor. So that was a hard transition. So I had to kind of learn to, these people that I'm just coworkers and friends with.
And now that can cause some serious issues there.
Yeah. So now I kind of have to enforce, the policies. Yeah. And so it was a major transition whenever I got the management position. But I don't know. I felt like I was always the same person. I don't know that everybody else felt
she
that
was doing management before you even became a manager, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's the problem. She didn't want you to be a manager.
And maybe she did. I don't know. She still made way more money than I made, because she'd been there for years.
Brittany, you be over analyzing this stuff. That don't matter.
I guess my thing was me getting a different position, whether it was a supervisor or manager, it never changed who I was. So
see, that's the thing about animosity. It don't matter what she made. It don't matter. She was there first. It was something about you that bothered her. That's obvious. And the fact that she was taking notes all this time, send emails, this and that, they never said nothing to you. You never knew it until the end. Is very, very interesting.
Yeah, it was weird.
So now you have to ask yourself if she ever talked about you to other people.
Oh, I'm so sure that she did.
But it never got back to you.
Oh, there was a few people that had said that she would ask about where I was and things like that.
Okay, so you left all
when I say where I was, it wasn't because I was in the office. It's because like we would have to travel, and I would, go to our corporate office, and she would.
You leaving out vital stuff.
Well, there was so much. We worked together for years. I don't know, but I feel
so I want you to think about that for just a second. Why would somebody be asking about where is Brittany?
Well, that's the thing, is she knew where I was. Like anytime that I was out of town for work related stuff, I would tell her, because like I said, she's the only other supervisor there or manager. So I would say, hey, I'm going to be gone these dates and these dates, just so you know. And she would literally go to my staff and say, how often have you talked to Brittany since she's been gone? As if, like
you took off from the job.
Yeah. And but she clearly knew I was with, I wasn't working then. So it made me feel really strange. And we were implementing a new part of the business, and we needed her to travel. So, and I was like, told the upper management, I was like, look, this will be a great opportunity for this, I'm trying really hard not to say her name, this person to come with me next time that I come down here.
Wow.
Well, I don't know this part of the business. I never claimed to know, anything.
But now, looking back in hindsight, she definitely wouldn't have been somebody you would have wanted in your shadow or a lead.
Well, right. But, I didn't look at it like that, because my job was the business. I didn't care about the petty shit.
Yeah, but you didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. That's what I'm saying.
Right. And I felt that she felt some type of way that, because we would go, there was all kinds of places that I'd have to travel to. And so I thought maybe it was a little, animosity that she in that position had never, been given the opportunities to go.
Okay, so see, now you're putting more out there that we didn't know. Okay. So now we have somebody that came in as a regular person, worked their way up, asking questions that you should already know the answers to, keeping an itinerary of your comings and goings in the office, possibly not given the opportunity to do things and travel that you were. She found something about you that perturbed her.
Well, yeah. And so she would say, so she would make comments to the staff saying, oh, well, because one of our corporate offices, is in a place that's really fun. I'll just say it. Vegas is one place that we would have to go. And she would say, oh, well, you know that, you know, she's up there hanging out with the corporate management men. And there was no men that ever I even met when I was there. Yeah, she would say things like that. She would say, you know, all they do when they're at the Vegas location is party every night. That's so not true.
Stuff like that. Like, all they're doing is having SEX.
Yeah, pretty much as it was like just an expense paid trip.
Yeah, she was way vengeful.
And honestly, every time that, you know, those trips came, it came at an awful time of year because it happened every year. It would be on the first day of school for my child. So I never wanted to go.
When did you hear about when did you hear making comments about the Vegas trips?
Oh, well, my best friend told me because she worked there too. And she worked
way before she got fired.
Oh, yeah. Way before she got fired.
And you never thought to confront her?
No, because I didn't care. Okay. I didn't really care what she said because I knew the truth. And like same as my friend, she knew if it meant like me being on a trip to, you know, anywhere, regardless of where it was.
Get started, and all it takes is somebody gullible to believe them.
Yeah, and that's true. Mm-hmm. But I really thought it had a lot to do with the traveling. So when we were implementing a new part wow. I offered her to come. I said, I think it'd be a great opportunity for her to come and meet the other people that she does have phone calls with all the time instead of, you know, just being a virtual thing. And I really think that, you know, it would be good for her self-esteem and her position because I feel like that, you know, she thinks I'm like
miserable had she gone.
Huh?
You would have been miserable had she gone. She would have been.
Well, the opportunity was
I'm gonna
there.
tell you what she would have been doing. Anytime you went out to eat, anybody made conversation, she'd have something to say. That would have been her opportunity to give you the business.
Oh, well, and that would have been fine. But so then it came down to a point where, I mean, I wasn't really worried about my work spoke for itself. I didn't care.
But what I'm saying, sweetheart, somebody saying something to you being, passive aggressive or subtle, depending on how they want to deliver the message is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been her opportunity because you all would have been stuck with each other unless you jump up and say, well, I'm going back to my hotel room. I got a headache. See where I'm going?
Oh, yeah. And I will say the things that, because we would go out and go shopping and things like that at night. Those were not things she ever would have been interested in doing. However, she was offered to come on a trip and she declined it. Well, a few years later, it was mandatory that she come on a trip because we're like getting to the final implications of this part of the business. And she literally did not show up to work that day. I mean, like, it was a big deal. We had to transition like the tickets and all kinds of stuff to get somebody from her department to come because she couldn't come.
For not showing up.
That she was sick with a migraine. So in the end, I really think it had more or less to do. She was upset that I kind of had the freedom to do that.
That's why I asked, why was she fired?
Because we were new managers were taking over, we were being bought out, and we were changing the way we were doing things. So we were implementing new standard operating procedures and things like, pretty much we're not doing things the way we've always did them. This is the way we're going to start doing it. And she had been in that position for a long time. And I think she was just kind of stuck in her ways and she wasn't
willing to be a team player. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
So were there new managers that came in over you?
Huh? Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Interesting. But somebody still had to say something about her demeanor for her to get out.
Well, they did because, just as I said, I would make trips out there. They would make trips here. And so when they would come into town,
why was she declined, I wonder.
Why what?
I wonder why she declined to go on the trips.
I don't know. And the part of me wondered if, that was the issue. It's not necessarily that she wanted to go on the trips. It was that she maybe didn't have the freedom to go if she wanted because of her lifestyle. I don't know. It was all very weird.
Her lifestyle of it. You said she was older, didn't
you? Yeah, she had kids. I mean, I have a child too. But she had kids. And I don't know, her husband was not very helpful at all.
Now, see, that's a whole lot of personal information right there that you would know. How would you know that?
That's because she would tell me. That's what I'm saying. She never acted like she like hated me to my face.
So that's
It
what I'm
was,
trying to get to understand. I thought maybe she was aloof and didn't talk.
oh no, she would talk.
Mhm.
It's
So maybe she
weird.
was happy with her life.
I think she was, and it's kind of sad. It made me, I don't know. It kind of, I mean, I hate it for her because in the end, she ended up losing her job, and I think it was.
So all that note
so,
taking and all that got her out the door.
yeah.
In the
I
end.
mean, it didn't have anything to do with me. It
Oh,
was
not
more
that,
like,
but I'm just saying, whatever she was feeling towards you, the job, the world, whatever. Now there's no job.
yeah. I mean, I do know that she has another job, which is a very good job. So,
Oh, well,
so it probably worked out great for her.
yeah, when you see her standing at your mailbox one day. Just kidding.
I know. I feel really weird talking about this, honestly.
Jesus, I laugh at you. Oh, Lord have mercy. See, I ask a lot of questions because a lot of times when you all spin stories, you leave out stuff that maybe you're not thinking is pertinent at the time. So I have to ask because I know there's something there. That's why I ask all these questions. You know, who, where, what, why, when did she do? Because I know there's something underlying in there.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, there's things that I, still think of today that were weird, but I don't know. I mean, just like in conversations with one of my friends that's always worked there and they've kind of seen it happen, that will say, "Oh God, do you remember when she did this? Did she do this because of this?" I mean, I've worked the same job.
Hindsight?
Yeah.
Anything that stuck out that would be what we would call pathological, deemed pathological, sinister, deliberate.
I mean, well, you were deliberately making up lies and sending an email about it. Well, and see that, and that's another thing, and that's probably not. Huh?
About y'all taking the breaks.
Well, right, or me taking long lunches, and this is probably, I can tell you why they probably never even spoke to me about it. In order to get in and out of our doors at work, whether it's just me going to a drink machine, you have to swipe a key fob.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yep, and in order for me to get out the door, in the morning, you have to swipe your key fob. So anytime I came in and out of that building, they knew it, and they could pull records of it. So they knew that wasn't true.
Maybe she didn't want you to have that job because you said you were a regular person when you first came in. Maybe she felt like you weren't deserving of that job, so she nitpicked anything she could find about you, whether it was true or not.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know that it was so much about me and maybe that's where I'm dumb, that it was more about her, that she had been there so long and that she was used to doing things a certain way. These new group of managers, like upper senior managers, come in and say, "This is how we're going to do things." And it wasn't what I wanted either, but I meshed really well with them and I just, hit the ground running with it, whatever. This is because, I mean, this is my boss, this is who signs my checks. So at this point I wasn't going to say no. And, I think that she was so used to doing things the way we'd always done it that she wasn't willing to put in the extra effort anymore.
Wow.
So I don't really know. I mean, I don't know. Sounds weird to talk about.
So when you look back, that's the only person that you can think of you had any issues with at that time on that job?
No. I'm still at the same job.
Well, I'm saying she's the only person that comes to mind of any issues.
Yeah, no, I can't think of anything else.
Considered jealousy, perhaps.
No, one lady considered me racist.
Huh?
I said there was a lady that thought I was racist.
And what was her nationality?
Black.
And why was she? Did she say that to you, Brittany?
No, she said it to my best friend, who's black.
I sure love your best friend. A lot. Everybody wants your best friend to.
Well, and it's because it's almost like they wanted her to say something about me, kind of.
They knew you were gonna, or they would knew you go back and tell it. I mean, she would go back and tell it to you.
Yeah.
So you had a best friend on a job.
Yeah, she still is my best friend.
Okay. And that might have been an issue too.
Well, when I
So
started the job, I was
people are chummy.
well. Okay, so when I started the job, we were both in the same position. Like I said, we were just regular employees. Once I became when I became a supervisor, I told the upper management that I never lied about the fact that we were friends. And at that point, she was under me.
Okay.
And I said, I'm not going to, I don't have any reason to lie to y'all. I've been because I was pretty much given the supervisor position without applying for it. And I said, I want to be, completely upfront, like me and this person are best friends. There's another team that you can move her to because I don't ever want our friendship to become an issue.
Oh, that was noble of you. And how do you think your friend, she treated you the same when you got this new position as a supervisor?
Yes.
Okay. Now, your best friend, is she Caucasian?
No.
She's black.
Mm-hmm.
So a black person told you you're racist and your best friend was black.
Mm-hmm. There was a girl that another black girl told her that.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was dumb. It was so dumb.
Well, did you have problems with this other black lady?
No, she wasn't even in our department. I've maybe only had seen her like 3 or 4 times.
So maybe somebody came back and told her something about you.
Well, that's impossible. I mean, because I'm not racist, number one. Well, and that was kind of the thing, my best.
Sweetheart, I'm saying somebody came back and told her something to that effect.
Well, my friend asked her why she thought that, because my friend thought it was hilarious. She said, well, if that's what you think of Brittany, you don't know Brittany at all. She said, I can promise you that. And she said, every time
hey, I'm her friend. Did your friend tell her that you two were friends?
She knew we were friends.
I'm confused, Brittany.
Well, and that's what she told her. She said, do you know that she is married to an African-American man? So, and she didn't know that. But no, the only excuse that she really had is that she said I walked with my head up in the air and that I acted like I couldn't speak. Whether I don't like somebody, I'll speak. I don't care. So I cannot recall any time that I would not have spoke to this girl. Other than if I was busy and didn't
when you look back and now, do you think you carry any type of air about yourself on the job then and now?
No. And like I will say, there were a lot of times that I was busy, so I would have to when I went down the hallway, because it's one of the things everybody wants to stop and talk. I had to kind of book it, because everybody was going to stop me, and I had to get to do things that I needed to do. So, if it meant that that's what it looked like, that's what it meant. But anybody that I felt like truly knew me knew that was not true.
Okay.
And I think that same lady ended up.
She gone too.
No, she still works with us, and we actually get along great now.
Good. Look, we'll say for now. Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. So, any other friendships you can think of where you felt a female was jealous of you?
No, I don't. Not that I can think of. No. I mean, I don't really.
Not even in your younger days.
I can't think of anybody that I would say jealous. I think I've had some possessive friends, maybe.
Oh, possessive friends. Okay.
Kind of like call you too much. I want to do something all the time, but.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But no, not even really. I don't know. It feels weird to even say the lady at work was jealous because I don't know what that was really. It was just weird.
Well, it was personal, so in the end, it probably don't really matter what's the terminology that you use.
Yeah,
it was something personal that she didn't care for about you. That was obvious. See, my thing is that you don't know people, and when people look back in hindsight on certain things and listen to other things people said, he said, she said, all this, and then you factor in the horrible things that can go wrong through courtships with people. The point is that you don't know people. What seems, no big deal to you and unexplainable to you, illogical to you, could lead to something horrible because we've seen it happen in crime. Somebody didn't notice, somebody didn't like them, and they were doing little things like messing with their computer and trying to sabotage their food, different things. You don't know people. You don't know how far a person will go if they do not like you. And women have been known to do it with their own friends, do sneaky things like, send photographs, pictures of them doing something, telling boyfriends, girlfriends, what they did the night before, private conversations, all that. And some of it's out of jealousy. Some of it's maybe just to let that other person know, hey, you don't really know this lady here. I just thought I'd let you know she's not the woman you think she is. I've heard some really interesting things from last night that I thought, wow, women we're dangerous. We're outright dangerous. Some of us, anyway.
Yeah, I agree. It's strange. I feel weird even saying that somebody's even jealous of. I mean, I do. I feel strange saying something like that.
Would you be surprised that yeah, because you're trying to put logic with it. But you don't know what people actually think about you.
No, you really don't.
Yeah, that's my point. It doesn't matter that you did anything or you think you didn't do something. That's not their perception of Britney.
Mhm.
Just like the racist and she don't speak and this and that. That may not be your perception, but somebody else has that perception, whether it's true or not. And that's why I always say about a story, it's just a version. Your version, my version, his version. Doesn't mean one of us is telling the truth, because in the end, I could have a receipt and you still could say, I don't believe it. You see what I'm saying?
I just thought of a good example. For instance, the girl that thought I was racist. My friend, she was pregnant at the time, and the girl had asked her, "What are you going to name your baby?" And she told her, well, the middle name was Kennedy. And she said, "Oh, did your white friend give you that name?" I said, "See, she's the racist one." I said, "I am not racist.
Kennedy.
I will never." Kennedy. She said, "Well, did your white friend give you that name?"
So the black girl was having a baby.
Yeah, my friend, yes.
And
the girl that thought I was racist had asked her,
black girl,
yeah, what are you going to name your baby?
That sounds like, I guess, to her, a white girl's name. A white person's name.
But in my mind, I'm like, well, that can sound kind of racist.
Well, it can. Profiling, just, yeah.
But that was
depending on your perception. Very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting to me. I don't really care about anybody else's life that much, And even when I think about
it, you don't really think that anybody's caring about your life until they make little comments, And I always say that you have to watch the little things that people say. Okay, when you realize that people are repeating back what you're doing, who you're talking to, who said something to you. I get very leery when I start hearing people repeat back who said something to me, who's standing talking to me. Well, why does it bother you? Like if you're in a public place and you got to repeat back to me who I'm talking to or who said something to me, or why is that bothering you? I don't like a replay. You know why I don't like a replay? Because one, it's none of your damn business, and two, I was in the room, so I don't need a replay.
It's almost like they know you. They know more about what you're doing than you do.
Yeah, but the point is, why do you care to repeat it back? I saw such and such talk, and he said that, and I think he like you, and I think such and such wonder. You don't know what you're talking about, and in the end, it doesn't matter.
When in the end, I think it's just that people aren't happy with themselves. And don't get me wrong, there's been many of. I've not always been happy with myself either.
Exactly. Many of us aren't. There are good days, bad days. But the thing you got to know when, as I say, stay in your lane. Nobody wants to hear that crap. Especially if you're out of that element where you're trying to have a good time. It's a buzzkill.
Yeah, I try to avoid a lot of negative.
You can't complain about other people being messy when you're exhibiting, little minor behavior that's similar. And maybe you don't think that you're doing it. I don't know. But that's something I don't like. don't repeat back to me nothing I'm allegedly doing. Because I don't go out to be critiqued and worried about who I'm talking to and if I brush my hair 5 times to the right. You see what I'm saying? Who gives a damn? You know, I notice I do it all the time in my little live videos. I keep pushing my hair back. Yeah, I'm pushing that fake ass wig back. It's mine. I'll do what I want to do. But you'll have somebody who might come up and say, "Oh my gosh, I noticed you just keep brushing your hair back and you keep fumbling with this." And you're sitting here telling yourself, like, wow, these people are really watching me. Why?
That's strange. That's odd for somebody to say. I mean, I think everybody has like a nervous twitch.
And I do that with the hair. Those, you know, that hair, pushing it back. I've noticed I've done it several times in my lives. And I said, I'm sure somebody's watching this saying to herself, "Oh my gosh, she didn't push her hair back at least 10 times." You know, and that might hurt somebody. Say what?
I click my nails. That's my.
Yeah. You know, so I mean, you know, and then the flip side is gonna be somebody who, you know, you think you're cool with, but they're really watching and maybe they feel some type of way about, you know, how you look and who you're talking to and how you carry yourself and who's conversating with you, but it shouldn't bother you. Because if you're in an open setting that's public, that's why it's public. So there are gonna be different people talking, laughing, passing conversations, stepping over your feet, and you might be making more out of something that's absolutely nothing. And even if it's something, it's actually something, it's really none of your business. Because so long as it doesn't pertain to you, it's not affecting you directly, it's none of your damn business. And I've learned it about women. We get so consumed about who's talking to who, how long they talked, how they look, who frowned, who got mad, who stormed out. You understand what I'm saying? We've all done it. Looked at people like, "Oh my gosh, she's mad, she's upset. Ooh, they fighting. Ooh, they argue." You know what I mean? But to be just in the company of people that you're supposed to be liking, and you're critiquing little things that they're doing and who's saying something to them, I don't like that.
Yeah, that's strange.
Yeah, I don't need a play-by-play of who said hello to me and how many times they said, "Oh, you look nice today," or you looked at them and said, "Oh, I think he likes you," or "I think he's interested." Maybe he is. What's it to you? My thing is best get your bid in, right? Yeah. Because women, we're petty like that. And guys, they might make little sour jokes to their homeboys, their fellow comrades. "Dang, man, you get all the,
Yeah, I think men are a lot less petty, though, a lot less jealous. Females are, ooh.
Because they can dog each other out and the guy still will be friends with them.
Yeah.
I mean, sour jokes that most of us will be ready to pull somebody's hair out of them. But the guys will remain friends. But then there might come a point when one guy might say, "Well, you know, okay, the comments are getting a little ugly, a little rank, and I'm getting kind of tired. You know, somebody being loud and boisterous and proving their point." And there may be some jealousy. It's up to you how you handle it. You want to, as I say, ride the ride. But I always say the first signs with women is, I call it nitpicking. You keep saying something repetitively. "You always doing this. You always doing this. They always doing this. They always coming over to your table. They're always saying something." That's letting me know you're watching me. And
that definitely sounds like jealousy. I can't think of a situation really like that. But
and Queen want to know why. I don't need nobody watching me when I'm out. That's why I can say this honestly. There is nothing like going out into the world. I don't care where it is, whatever your activities are, movie theater, brunch, dinner, whatever, doing it by yourself.
Well, and I think that shows confidence, and obviously this is what that person lacks, is that
because I can do that by myself. I can go to the movies by myself, go to the mall by myself, go to the bar by myself. I don't need anybody. I don't need to meet up with nobody. I go a lot of places by myself. I may talk to somebody, sit by somebody, you know, a spare seat, but that don't mean, you know, a buddy or best friends. It just so happened it was an open seat. But I can honestly say I enjoy being to myself because I know I don't have to contend with extra shit when you're in a party or a group. When you're meeting up with people and sitting with people, you're wrapped up in that, even if you're not trying to be, because you're at that table, that vicinity with them. So people will group you with them. And this is how a lot of BS gets started, especially with women and Black women. Well, you sitting there, you over there, see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You should know how they are, or and you may not even know what the hell they're talking about. That's why I don't really like hanging around women, because I don't want to be grouped into nothing. You might be coming to me with some BS, or you might be coming to them with some BS. Now I'm there listening. But I don't want to say nothing so nobody get jiggy with me like, well, you ain't got nothing to do with it. But okay, but I'm going to eat this table. I don't want to hear the nonsense. But yes, women are watchers by nature. And they critique things.
Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with being confident enough to go in a restaurant and eat by yourself.
I did it today, and I had no problem. And there were few people that were eating alone. One guy was eating alone, then another guy sat catty corner from me. He was eating alone. When you're hungry, you don't have time to go ask somebody in the AM, hey, go get a bite to eat with me.
Yeah.
You're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go out and have you a nice meal, coffee, or to the picture show. Nobody wants to go see that movie. Well, you go.
Did you say the picture show?
I sure did. The picture show, the show, the movies. Shut up, Brittany. That's an old-timey word, a picture show. I'm starting to use a whole lot of old Southern, old-timey slang. Picture show, window, all of the above. But I'm just saying, there's going to be times when you don't want to go ask somebody for something. You don't have time to ask somebody to go do something with you. You just go do it by yourself.
Yeah, and the older I get, the smaller a group of circle. I mean, the same people that have always been around me are still around me, but you know, I'll say my best friend, for instance, you know, a lot of people that I were friends with before, you know, it was if you didn't see them every once or, you know, twice a week, they were offended. And, you know, the older I got and the more my life changed, I didn't have time for that anymore. And I think that's, you know, why me and my best friend have became friends for so long, because
I'm going to ask you that. Did you ever drift apart from some people?
I mean, yeah, some people I have not. I mean, my best friend, I would say, no, we've never really drifted apart. I mean, it's like we get each other on a level that nobody else can. It's, you know, I don't know. It's weird, you know, if we're not offended if I don't hear from her.
Okay. And that's why I think people have to have an understanding, because some people can get offended. Okay, 1 minute we're talking every other day, and the next minute we ain't talking at all. Whether somebody got an attitude because somebody didn't pick up the phone, didn't respond to a text. Now somebody's in their feelings. So I try to tell myself, well, they're busy, they're this. Don't take it personal. Because my thing is this. You don't take it personal when I decide not to respond. And that may sound tit for tat, but it is the same.
Right. And that's exactly kind of how it is. I mean, it's literally our text today. I text her. I said, "Are you still living?" She wrote back, "Oh, you're still breathing." So, I mean, wow. That's just how it goes. Ain't nobody mad at each other. And we didn't even say anything else after that. I just realized I hadn't talked to her in a few days. And, you know, now that we don't work in the office anymore, we're both kind of stuck at home, and it sucks, and we all both have kids, and you know, but if I can go out one night and I, you know, really want her to go, which I don't go out, if it's dinner, I should say, and I'm like, hey, can you come? Usually she can't. I wouldn't rather anybody else go with me. I'd rather it be her, but I'm not upset.
Okay. That's why I said there should be an understanding, that way nobody gets offended when somebody's not calling, not reaching out, not asking to go places and do things. You know, because some people get upset. We can talk about that. Some people, I remember an incident. This lady, she's no longer alive, but she had got mad one day when her let me see, how did it go? Her sister was invited somewhere by another younger lady. And she got mad because she didn't get invited. And I told her, you know, and I wasn't trying to be rude. I said, but you've opened Pandora's box to tell this. I said, how can you orchestrate who you getting an invite. Your sister was invited somewhere. That invite wasn't for you.
Mm-hmm.
So how could you get an attitude at the person that invited your sister somewhere and then get mad at your sister? So your sister's supposed to say, "Oh, can my sister come too?" No. Because if you haven't built a rapport with the other woman, then you can't get an attitude. It's a difference if you were friendly with that lady and you all had a good vibe with one another. She was having a function or something, and she invited your sister and she didn't invite you. Then maybe you could go to the woman and say, "Well, hey, I heard, that you're having a party or you're having this. I was wondering why I didn't get an invite." But you don't deal with the woman on any type of personal level.
Oh, then yeah, no.
Why is the obligation for this woman to invite you because she invited your sister? She invited your sister because they're friends.
Yeah, that's odd. Yeah, that's odd for her to even be wondering.
People are petty like that. God rest her soul. But that was petty, and she could not understand how she felt like she was in the right. And I told her, "No, you're not in the right."
Do her and her sister like always do things together or something?
Well, I don't know. I can't remember if they did stuff a lot together because they didn't even live in the same town. So it couldn't be they did stuff together. They lived like 30 something minutes apart. So you weren't doing something together all the time. You didn't even live in the same city. It's just that you heard that the sister got invited somewhere and maybe it's something that you wanted to go to. Well, what you should have done was went to that person and said, "Do you mind if I come along or meet up?" You understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Then that person might get offended too because maybe they don't want you there. And that's another thing. It's not even to be rude, but maybe I don't want you there. Not that I don't like you. It's just that I didn't invite you. You see what I'm saying? And I think a lot of women who are codependent, they have a habit of inviting other people to functions they've been invited to without asking people's permission. And I don't like that. You have to have manners when you're invited somewhere. And there are a lot of people who'll do that. Like that woman invited the sister somewhere. Now it would have been rude for that woman to invite this crazy person that's crying without asking that woman's permission. You agree?
Yeah, it would have been.
Right. You have people like that. They'll get invited to a function, such as, let's say, a wedding. And then somebody says, "Here's an invite. The wedding's on, Sunday the 25th, blah, blah, blah." And then that person will have the nerve to go invite somebody, Pookie, Ray Ray, Matilda, without even asking the other person. You don't do that. Somebody's having a party and you go bring your sister or your cousin. You don't do that. You ask the person, "Do you mind if my sister comes along? My brother, whomever." You just don't bring somebody else.
Right. I know there's times that like if somebody else, okay, let me say I've been invited to something and I'm like, "Oh, well, if such and such would have been invited, I probably would be going." You know what I mean? Like, if so yeah, like I've been invited to stuff and I'm like, I don't really want to go. If such and such would have been invited, I would have been more likely to go.
Now that's messed up.
Well, I mean, I can't.
That's why you just turn it down, Brittany.
And I do most of the time.
Yeah,
I mean, not that I would never. I would never invite somebody that
that stuff shows on your face and you don't think about it. Because I've heard people tell me that all the time when I'm out. They'll say, "What's wrong? You're mad about something." And I'll say, "No, I'm not upset." But obviously, I'm showing some type of emotion on my face that I'm not paying attention to. I've had many people say that to me. And a lot of times I'll be in deep thought when I'm out, like I was zone out. And so maybe I'm thinking about something and it's showing on my face that I look perturbed or something. So somebody may walk by the table like, "Cheer up, smile." And I'll be like, "What are you talking about?" And I don't even know that I look like that.
Yeah.
A lot of times I'll be like just in a deep thought process, which is probably not the place for that. I'm out supposed to be enjoying myself. But maybe I notice something and I'm thinking to myself and maybe that expression's on my face. So some people might think like, "Oh my God, are you angry about something?" I'm like, "No, I'm not." And then it dawned on me, "Oh, okay. I must have been thinking about something and it was showing on my face." But there are women like that.
I can see myself being the same.
They get very upset. Huh?
I could see myself being the same if I didn't really want to be there. You could tell it.
Yeah, and that's my point. You don't want to go if you don't have control of your facial emotions. Because a lot of times we do wear our emotions and what we're thinking on our face and don't even pay attention to it. And then somebody says, Oh, Brittany, you don't look like you're having a good time. Oh, then you got to straighten it up. Oh, no. I'm okay. I was just thinking about something.
Yeah, and like I said, I know there are times, just like you said, that I'm like in deep thought, like there's nothing wrong with me, but I just like something that I'm thinking about for a second can, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I deep thought
Yeah.
all the time wherever I'm at. Doesn't matter if I'm out, eating, dining, bar, whatever. I could just look at something and then just zone out. And then when somebody walks by there thinking I'm upset about something, I'm like, no, honey, my mind was 12 miles over. I ain't thinking about these folks in this room. You know what I'm saying? I'm a million miles away.
Right.
But I've seen this also, pettiness, jealousy, when women get upset when they're not invited to something that somebody close to them was invited to. And I also seen the flip side of the people who are doing the inviting. They don't want you inviting other parties every time they invite you somewhere, because that might offend that person. Why every time I invite you somewhere, you got to invite your sister or your cousin? Because if I wanted them to come, I would invite them. Now that might offend the person, but how can it offend you when it's really common sense? If I wanted your sister, mother, cousin to come, or whoever, I would invite them myself. It's not your job to go bring them along every time I say, hey girl, we're going to go out tonight. And then I come show up, pick you up, woo, you got somebody else with you. And then what'll be even worse is if the person you're inviting, I don't care for them and they don't care for me.
Oh, yeah, that would be bad. No, I would never bring
that's
anybody
happened with many women.
unexpected. If I didn't want to go that bad, I just wouldn't go. And then if I wanted somebody to go, I would, and I felt it was appropriate to ask, I would maybe ask. I don't really see myself asking though. I think it would just be, you're not going either. Yeah. I don't really see myself asking unless it was, a very non-casual event that I couldn't really see an issue with this person coming. An extra person wasn't going to hurt anything. Because, a lot of times when people plan things, I know that, we've had events that I've tried to plan and it's hard. People suck at RSVPing to start with. So you're trying to plan.
Anything dealing with food and stuff, you can't invite other people because they're allotting their money per person.
Right. I mean,
it's just like with a wedding. The list is 300. Everybody invited can't go invite 10 people.
Oh, at a wedding? No.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, usually you get a +1.
Okay, so 300 on the guest list. Now imagine all 300 people went invited Pookie, Ray, Matilda.
Oh, we'd have a problem.
1,000, 2,000 extra people eating and dining. The food gone, cake gone, drinks gone, ain't nothing. But just saying, a lot of people are just inconsiderate. And some people get offended, like, well, dang, I told you that, you should have asked me, if you're going to bring your mom, your dad, your cousin. Because I've had somebody that mentioned that to me years ago about every time they invite somebody to their house or something, they said, they would always bring other people. And I can see why they would offend a person because it's rude.
Yeah. Definitely a heads up, I guess, would be nice.
So what, honey?
I said a heads up would definitely be nice.
Well, and then imagine somebody, they do this often. Like, I'm going to tell you something. Many years ago, when I had graduated high school, then went into college first year. That first year out of college, my best friend and I, we would always get together in the evenings and do something together when we got off from work. Because I was doing a summer job, and then naturally she had a regular job. And I think she was going to community college or something at that time. So I'm home for the summer break. We would plan to go somewhere. I'll be damned. We'd say, okay, let's go to Applebee's. Let's say it's a Friday night. We're going to go to Applebee's. And I said, okay. I walk out to the car Friday night. Her mom's in the car. Every time we would go out to eat. Her mom was in the car. It was the most annoying thing I'd ever seen. Her mom had been out of, a divorce for about a year and a half or so. Because I remember in high school, I would have been 17 then when they were breaking up that fall of that would have been 88. So now fast forward, it's now 90. summer 90s. So we're not coming up almost 2 years. They're not together anymore. They've gone their separate way. The mother somehow hasn't moved on mentally. So she's latching on to her grown ass, daughter, 20-year-old daughter.
Yeah, that's kind of strange. I mean, especially at your age at the time, I would think that, no, we don't want no mama with us.
Yeah, and so here are two young women, 19 and 20, wanting to go out and have fun, be young girls, do young girl things. And every time we decided to go out to eat on the weekends, because what we would do, we would go out to eat. And then after that, we'd go to the Elks, because they'd have like a little disco or whatever they call it, a disco on Friday nights, Saturday nights. So Mom naturally didn't go to that because she was a church lady. But you sure make sure that every time we went to eat before that, you're right there with us at Applebee's. It was so annoying, Brittany, because it's like you can't even talk to your friend because, oh, guess what? We get to the restaurant. Now Mom and her sister and her friend are now there at the damn Applebee's. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So beside it being your mom being a third wheel, these other 18 wheels are there. So it's almost like a church meeting. And it's just like, oh my God. It was like, what kind of BS is this? And even to this day, when I last
talked to her tell you?
Ago, her mom was still codependent just a few years ago. And then we live in the same state. She lives in North Carolina and the mom's here. And I just thought to myself, she has to call her daughter for everything. She has to call her. She has a whole son here that can navigate business things. She wouldn't even call him. Well, excuse me. She won't. At that time, she did not call him. And the friend finally said, it'd be nice if she called my brother because he is living in the same town. Why she won't call him is a mystery to me. She said she is rather codependent. It's like she's stuck on me. She's used to me doing stuff, but I wanted to tell her, you know what? This shit's been going on ever since I met you in high school. You allowed yourself to be her rock. And she didn't branch out like she should have with other women friends for support, when the relationship busted up in her marriage. So all those years she was codependent on her daughter, and she has more faith in, her daughter than asking her own son to like change a light bulb or do this or do that or paperwork or bank statements. She's going to bother her and call her knowing she has a full-time job. She can't navigate stuff through the day. She worked. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's easy to call yourself in the same town. I told myself, see, things like that, I just shake my head at like, what? I don't know. Strange. Very strange.
Yeah, I think that would be hard, especially when it's your parent.
Yeah. But you have to use deduction. Your child does not live in your state. So why are you calling them every 5 seconds for something when you have another whole child that's in your town?
Yeah, that's surprising if she's so codependent that they don't live in the same state.
Yeah, because it started when the marriage busted up. So she leaned on the daughter because naturally the daughter was still living at home with her. The son, he was in high school. And she leaned more on the daughter. And that trait just followed all the way up until now, 30-something years later. And I'm like, that shit got to stop. But I don't say nothing. At that time, I would just listen. And me and her, we're not even friends now like we were. Something petty with a wedding. She was helping plan with her son and stuff. And it was an issue. She never notified me of what you call it, the gathering they do before they get married. So I found it strange. Yeah, I thought, I thought you wanted me to come. And so it's kind of like once you heard about it and then you never said anything about me, coming up there, making a way to North Carolina to go to it, I was, kind of offended because it's kind of like, well, if you can't invite me to the reception, then how was I going to make it to the wedding? And the wedding was going to be in a whole other state. Not North Carolina, but another state.
Yeah.
So it was kind of strange. So we kind of just drifted on and she stopped calling because what it was, she had fell out with the girl because the girl had got mad at her mom about the decorations for the reception. And the mother had did some things on the bottles. It was kind of like a picnic type theme. And I guess the girl wanted things written a certain way, but that's her right because that's her reception. And the point is, if you're going to help somebody, you can't just go do things on your own, right? You ask the person, hey, how would you like me to write this on the napkins or the whatever? The mother did her own thing, and then when the girl went and looked at the bottles, she didn't like the way the colors were done. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So my friend, I guess, got offended because she felt like the girl was too harsh on her mom. Okay, what does Angela have to do with that?
Nothing.
So she actually had an attitude at the girl, and that spun over to me. So when it was time to be telling me about the arrangements for the reception, Angela was nowhere in the loop of things. And I thought, all this is over some fucking stripes on a bottle? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just
Probably just really stressed out during that time.
yeah, but my thing is, if you're getting stressed out at the reception over decoration, what are you gonna do when it was time to actually plan the wedding?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he still got the same bride. He married the bride. You see where I'm going?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what my topic was, just about jealousy. Women are more jealous, I think, than men. I think men will hide theirs to some degree if they were jealous of their guy friends. And we've seen guys do a little sabotaging. You know, they might make little hints to guys, like, to a female, like, oh, he ain't no good. He messes around. He does this, you know, haterism type stuff. And we know women have been known to do that. But what I want to say before I check out of here is that this story that I brought to you about the TSU student is the worst case scenario, if indeed this is jealousy. It can go that far that where somebody gets mad and lashes out and they do something such as hit, punch, stomp, poison. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sabotage your job. And you may not think it would ever get that far. You might notice some things that ain't right with Becky Sue, whatever, but you're not thinking, oh, she would be the type that would corner me and try to beat me up or cut me or shoot me. But these things have happened. And we see a lot of it with younger girls, teenage girls, college students, and some, you know, older adults. They will do things to sabotage a friendship because they are jealous and envy-hearted. You don't know people. And what we find out, this so-called new friend ended up beating her up with this guy.
I'm sure they'll find out. They seems like they know something. For them to already know how they were, you know, in the car, who sat where, someone's probably talking.
Yeah. And it's sad because it would be horrible to carry that burden as a parent. I had this intuition about this girl, and then you later find out the girl is the one that harmed her alongside somebody else.
Oh my gosh, I hope not. Yes. Ugh.
I mean, I don't know what they all were doing at the party or if they got involved in anything, you know, illegal or whatever. But still, even if it was so, just leaving somebody out in the middle of a street, curb, whatever, you know, that's not the right thing to do.
No.
I always tell people that when you have people that do this type of behavior, they're showing you that they're a sociopath, psychopath, that they're not friends with anybody. There ain't no love for anybody. Because I tell people this all the time. You're trying to make yourself believe, oh, well, they care for their mama or they care for this person. No, they don't. You're sinister enough to do a human like that. You're sinister enough to kill your kid. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's all the same. Your mother, your sister, your brother, the neighbor, you would do anybody that way.
Yeah, to leave somebody on the side of the road or in the middle of the road, wherever. Leave somebody, period, is...
Yeah, when you could just at least call 911. But maybe that's the whole setup. We didn't have no intention of there being no savior. We beat this person up, hurt this person deliberately, and wanted to throw them out, and we did that. So there was no calling 911 because we intentionally wanted to harm this person, and we did that. And perhaps this young girl was jealous of her. You know, maybe she had a really nice home with her mom and had a good relationship with her mom. This girl didn't have that, because what you have to look at is, why was this girl staying with them any damn way? She just went to Michigan. So how are you meeting somebody that needs a place to stay? So you have to weigh stuff that's obvious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably exactly why the mom was. That's strange.
Maybe she was acting possessive of her. Maybe the girl was bisexual or a homosexual, and she was exhibiting, possessive traits toward the girl, or berating her. See, we don't know, but it had to be something for the mother to be saying, I need registration. And that didn't make any sense either, because why do you need registration when her car was parked at your house? All you had to do was walk outside and write the tag number down.
Yeah, that's a strange thing to ask for.
Yeah, when I first heard it repeated now 2 times, I said, this information doesn't make any sense. The girl stayed at your house. At any time, you could have walked outside and got her tag number and wrote the VIN number down from her car. That's something that's very off.
Yeah, that's strange. That's an odd thing to ask for. Maybe she's looking to see, like, maybe an address, because an address should be on the registration.
Yeah, because maybe what happened was after the girl left the house, maybe there was words, and the girl left their house to go stay, somewhere else, or the mother asked her to leave. I don't know. This is when the mother realized, okay, my daughter's still hanging with her, and I don't have the registration tag, blah, 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 on the car. I think maybe that's what happened. The girl moved on from staying with them, because maybe the mother was letting the daughter know, okay, it's time for her to go. She's been here, too long.
Right.
But yet the daughter's still hanging with her. So now the mom is in the position of, okay, she's out this house, but I don't know her tag number. I don't know where she stays. So who is this chick? How did they meet? What was her behavior at this house for this mother to be suspicious? And how is it that all this suspicion now has led to a dead kid, 23-year-old?
Strange, very strange.
Very strange. Anything you'd like to say? Because I want to check out of here.
No, ma'am, that's it. I will talk to you later.
Thank you for joining me, dear.
You're welcome. I'll talk to you
And
later.
I will
Bye.
talk to you a little later. Okay, thank you. All right, everybody. That's Brittany from North Carolina. Are you a jealous friend? Do you have jealous friends, cohorts, associates? Have you been in a dire situation where someone turned on you? Or you continue to be around people, person, and saw tendencies and continue to be their friend? Because maybe you really like them, but you know the signs that they want to covet what you have, want to dress like you, look like you, wear the same hair color, hairstyle, clothing, maybe even liked your boyfriend, husband, make comments about him, inappropriate comments. Did you say something? Did you rectify the situation, or did you just ignore it because you didn't want to be arguing? See, the thing about life is that sometimes you have to call a spade diplomatically, if you can. But in the end, you don't know people, and you don't know how bad things can turn out in dealing with people, telling them how you feel, or things that you notice that ain't right, or things that offend you. And as I said, in this case of this young lady, Miss Mia, being thrown out in the street, I can't say verbatim that this was an issue of jealousy, but jealousy came to mind in my spirit. And then once reading this article of her having blunt force trauma, being drunk, inebriated, overdose kind of went out the window. How would you get blunt force trauma? And it is being investigated as a homicide. So this was the reason for this topic, because I've noticed tendencies with people as of late, and maybe they don't mean any harm, but there are certain things that you can do and say that would alert a person to think you're really concerned about their comings and goings, who they're dealing with, who they're talking to, who's talking to them, and minute conversations. And maybe you're not jealous, but you're overly concerned. And why is that? Because like I said during this live stream, it can be annoying when you have people trying to give you a play-by-play, or giving you a play-by-play of who you're talking to, conversations, and things that's really just not even relevant. Just you're out having a good time, but somebody's worried and consumed with what you're doing. who you're talking to, but yet you're supposed to be cool with these people. I don't trust anybody, and that's just who the queen is. And I know that when people start making little slick comments, they're obviously bothered. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that they're jealous of me, but they're too concerned. And people like that I watch very carefully. So that's why you have to be careful what you tell people, what you repeat in confidence, telling your personal business, things you wouldn't want repeated, especially with dealing with men, relationships, financial issues, anything personal. Because we already know that usually when people fall out, those things are revealed to the public. And now you're feeling some type of way and wanting to act out. Know your friends and know your enemies. Because in the end, most enemies were your friends. So you thought they were your friends. I want to thank you for joining me. Like, share, subscribe. Please go to my community board for said updates. The weekend movie is Trinket Box, now playing on Tubi. If you want to donate to this great network, $ Big Angie, 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are welcome during all of my live streams. You all have a wonderful weekend. I will be back with more stimulating conversation and commentary. You have been listening to The Vault XL.